action. By virtue of that, the Financial Intelligence Unit, which has been operating under the Central Bank of the Gambia until recently, has become fully independent. Abdul Kolim, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, in delivering an inaugural statement, articulated that the Gambia is taking firm steps to guarantee that the provisions of the new anti-money laundering legislation is successfully implemented.
The Financial Intelligence Unit, which has been in existence for several years now and operating as a unit under the Central Bank, has now become an independent outfit with the enactment of this new law. It is tasked with, among other things, assisting in the identification of proceeds of criminal conduct and combating of money laundering and terrorist financing. The unit is vested with functions and powers necessary for the effective discharge of the objects for which it is established.
In the Gambia, the fight against money laundering and terrorism financing dates back to 2002 with the enactment of the Anti-Terrorism Act 2002. The Gambia passed into law the Money Laundering Act 2003 in response to various international conventions on the fight against money laundering and terrorism financing. The inauguration of this board, honorable ministers, marks the commencement of the establishment of an independent FIU as enshrined in the Act, the AML-CFTC Act. I have no doubt that the members of the board that has just been inaugurated today are aware of the huge challenges ahead. And may I, on behalf of the members of the board, assure you that we are committed to ensuring that an effective financial intelligence unit is in place and that we will live up to the challenges, of course, with the support of all the stakeholders.
The Attorney General, Minister of Justice, urged the board members of the unit to adhere to the letter as it is in the interest of the country.
Looking at the word intelligence, it means or connotes a lot that one would imagine. If you properly execute your duties, you are doing all of us a great thing. If you fail to do so, you are just as bad as those that you would be working on. Money laundering, terrorism is the world's biggest crime as of today. We all know what is going on in various parts of the world. So it is your duty to help this country from sinking.
At a time when today's world is increasingly becoming vulnerable to various forms of economic crimes, the launch of the Financial Intelligence Board in the Gambia could only bolster efforts aimed at ensuring a secure financial environment. For Grts News, I am Neiko Madema.
The Insurance Association of the Gambia Wednesday organized a sponsored walk in the capital city. The association also donated food items to the RVTH Sanatorium in line with its corporate social responsibility of complementing government's efforts in improving the livelihoods of the people, especially the sick and the suffering. Fatou Jase has the details of that report.
The Insurance Association of the Gambia successfully organized a sponsor walk led by the Gambia Police Band through the streets of Banjul with public proclamation of the message of the importance of insurance to the public, attracting attention of the passerbys, drivers and onlookers. This third edition of the Insurance Awareness Week is expected to end on the 16th of this month under the theme, Contribution of Insurance Stakeholders Towards Eradicating Poor Public Image of the Industry. The purpose is primarily to engage the public on educational and other activities aimed at increasing public awareness on insurance and restore public confidence in the industry. The association also feels it fitting to lend their hands to the sanatorium of the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital in the form of food items. Receiving the donated items on behalf of the sanatorium of RVTH, the chairperson of the donation committee expressed her deepest gratitude to the donors.
It's another pleasure again to receive people who really think of us. When I say think of us, RVTH is for everyone. RVTH is the main referral hospital in this country. And the support we receive from people, individual, groups, really supplement the efforts of this hospital.
The Association Secretary General assured the staff of the RVTH of their resolve to working with them for the well-being of the sick and the suffering at all times.
Even the hospital is exposed to risks, and they also take up some insurances. Like they take up insurances for their vehicles, for their staff, and for their buildings. You know, so it is not out of the way. This is a gesture. We are just trying to be our brother's keeper, in the sense that, who knows, like he said, anybody could be. We all need the hospital. It is our institution. It is a national institution. When we can always get sick. I myself have been admitted here some years back, you know, and I do come for treatment. So we are just trying to be our brother's keeper. And this is just a small token to say thank you to the community that are supporting us in our trade. Without them, without the community, there won't be any insurance service in this country.
Raymond Cisse, member of the organizing committee, expressed gratitude to all those who took part in the sponsored work.
I will just say thank you to everybody who attended, Mr. Jao, the police band, and everybody who was able to attend. We thank you, and we continue to need your support to make this week a very exciting and a much more exciting week. Thank you very much.
For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
The Network of Biodiversity Action Journalists, a body of media practitioners and bloggers seeking to raise public awareness of burning environmental issues, has been launched in the Gambia. The occasion, which also graced by staff of the Department of Parks and Wildlife, is premised on promoting community participation in the protection and conservation of the country's natural resources. Modu Estialo reports.
Established in December 2010, the Gambia Biodiversity Action Journalists is an environmental and natural resource youth-led organization. Recently, the Department of Parks and Wildlife Management officially launched the organization. The day-long forum brought together stakeholders, members from the media fraternity, and the Parks and Wildlife Management. Since environmentalists are cognizant of the fact that environmental biodiversity has become a global trend, it is in this vein the Department of Parks and Wildlife are pushing further to associate with the press in disseminating the information.
We cannot do anything without journalists, without the reporting, the backing of the journalists. Because we have been present for the past 20 or 30 years in this country. But seldomly we have problems with the journalists and how they report about wildlife rampages or wildlife conflict with local communities. And
the coordinator of the Gambia Biodiversity, Abdraman Salah, delved briefly on the history of the group as an organization which is formed to help accelerate government's effort.
The Environmental and Natural Resource Youth-led organization established December 10, as my colleague said, with technical support from Parks and Wildlife. The objective, among others, is to raise public awareness on the environmental thematic areas in a bid to encourage local participation in protecting and conserving the environment.
Gabriel Barry of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, who stepped in for the permanent secretary, called on all and sundry to shoulder the burden of environmental sustainability in the march towards combating environmental menaces.
To ensure that the future generations inherit a sound and sustainable environment, it is the collective responsibility of every facet and strata of society to educate and positively empower the future generation.
The principal climate change officer dilated on the term biodiversity, its effect and causes.
I wish to emphasize the important roles of the private NGOs, CSOs, and community-based organizations in the protection and conservation of the biological